I should have turned back when the fog grew too thick to see the road. The car's headlights were useless, the beams swallowed whole by the swirling white. My GPS had stopped working miles ago, and the signal bars on my phone had vanished one by one, like dying candles. The only sign of civilization was an old, crooked sign that appeared out of nowhere, half buried in mud and moss. The words were carved deep into rotting wood. Velmore, population unknown. Something about that word twisted in my stomach. I'd never heard of the place before, and yet it felt familiar, like a word I'd once whispered in a dream. I told myself it was just exhaustion. I'd been driving since dawn, searching for an old castle ruin I was researching for my photography project. But curiosity overruled fear. I pressed forward. The fog thickened. The air grew colder. My windshield wipers squealed against the glass like a scream stretched too long. Then through the haze, I saw faint lights. Soft yellow glows flickering like lanterns. A village. Relief washed over me. Maybe I could find gas, a meal, a warm place to rest. I didn't realize then that this village had been waiting for me. As I drove in, the first thing I noticed was silence. No sound of life. No barking dogs. No chatter. Not even the wind. The houses were old, stone structures leaning at odd angles. Their wooden shutters half open like staring eyes. Every step I took echoed unnaturally loud, swallowed by fog that smelled faintly of wet earth and something metallic. Blood, maybe. I knocked on the first door I saw. No answer. The second, the third, nothing. When I peered through the dusty window panes, I saw furniture covered in white sheets, candles melted into grotesque shapes, and, in one home, a dining table still set with plates of blackened, untouched food. It looked as though everyone had left in a single instant, mid-meal, mid-conversation. I should have left right then, but I didn't. I told myself there must be someone here, maybe at the church tower that rose through the fog like a dark finger pointing to heaven. So I walked toward it. The church doors groaned open. Inside, the smell of decay was overwhelming. The pews were empty, but candles still burned on the altar, wax dripping down in thick, frozen tears. The crucifix above was cracked, the face of Christ nearly erased by time. And then I heard it. A whisper, faint, like someone breathing just behind my ear. "You came back." I spun around. No one. Only fog slipping through the doorway like smoke. My heart pounded. Maybe it was the echo of my own breath. Maybe exhaustion. But something inside me twisted. The same cold sensation from the sign returned, stronger now. I found a narrow staircase leading up the bell tower. The steps creaked under my weight. Halfway up, I saw symbols carved into the stone. Strange runes I couldn't identify, arranged in spirals. At the top, the bell was covered in cobwebs, but I saw something else. A figure standing by the open window, facing the mist. "Hey," I called. "I'm lost. Can you help me?" The figure didn't move. The outline was human, but too still, as if carved from shadow itself. I stepped closer, my voice trembling now. "Do you live here?" Slowly, the figure turned. I saw a face. Pale, hollow, with empty sockets where eyes should have been. It opened its mouth, and from the black pit inside came the same whisper. "You came back." I stumbled back, nearly falling down the stairs. When I looked again, the figure was gone. But the bell had started to swing on its own. One slow toll, echoing through the valley, shaking dust from the rafters. I ran. Out of the church, down the fog-drowned streets. My footsteps echoed. And then, other footsteps joined mine. Soft, shuffling, following me. I turned corners, darted between houses, but every time I stopped, the sound stopped too. It wasn't until I reached the village square that I saw them. Dozens of figures, standing motionless in the mist. Their faces were wrong. Stretched, hollow, eyes missing or mouths too wide. They were all whispering, overlapping voices like dead leaves. "He's come home. He's come home." I screamed that I didn't know them, that I was just passing through. But they only tilted their heads, and I saw, with cold horror, that their shadows didn't match their bodies. The shadows moved first, then the bodies followed, like puppets. I ran again. My breath came in shallow bursts. Every house I passed looked older now, collapsing, crumbling into ash. The lantern lights flickered out one by one until the whole village seemed to pulse like a dying heart. The ground trembled beneath me, and I could swear I heard the sound of chanting. Deep, ancient, rising from beneath the earth. I don't remember how I got to the edge of the village, but I found myself on a narrow dirt road. My car was gone. Or maybe it had never been there. The fog was thicker than ever, swirling around me like living smoke. And then I heard footsteps again. Only this time, they weren't behind me. They were inside the fog, circling. A voice, familiar, quiet, desperate, spoke from within. "Don't leave me here." It was my voice. The fog parted for just a second, and I saw another me, standing there, pale, trembling, identical. My clothes, my eyes, my fear. He reached toward me. "You came back," he said, voice shaking. "You always do." I backed away, but the fog swallowed him whole. My heartbeat thundered in my skull. I started running. I don't know for how long. The trees changed around me, the air grew warmer, and suddenly I was on a main road again, headlights cutting through the mist. A truck driver stopped, asking if I was okay. I told him I'd gotten lost, that there was a village back there. He frowned. "There's nothing that way but forest. Has been for years." I turned to look, and saw only darkness. No road, no signs, no lights, just endless trees. He drove me to the next town. I tried to explain what I'd seen. The church, the people, the whispers. But the words came out fractured, uncertain. When I looked at the photos on my camera, every shot of the village was gone. The memory card showed static, grain, streaks of shadow. That night, in the motel, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing that whisper whenever I closed my eyes. "You came back." At some point, I went to the bathroom, turned on the light, and froze. On the mirror, faint but unmistakable, was a wet handprint. My handprint. Beside it, scrawled into the fogged glass, were 3 words. "The shadows remember." The air turned cold again. I tried to tell myself it was imagination, a residue of fear. But the reflection in the mirror didn't move when I did. It stared at me, smiling faintly, its eyes dark voids of fog. I turned off the light, grabbed my bag, and fled. Now I'm miles away, driving through endless night. I keep checking the rearview mirror. Sometimes, for a split second, I think I see the outline of a village in the distance, glowing faintly through the fog. And every time I blink, I hear the toll of that bell again. Maybe I escaped. Maybe I didn't. The road never seems to end. And the shadows, they're still following.